Yes, sir. How are you, sir?
I'm good. I'm good. Right, let's get started. So let me recap all the necessaries for your IELTS.
Okay, sir.
So let's get started with. Uh, I don't know whether I have shared the basic strategies. The form of snacks. Let's see. Let me check them in the group. Is my voice clear, buddy?
Yes, sir. A little bit of
Disturbance?
not disturbance, not clear.
Not clear. Is it clear now? Is it okay now?
Okay, sir. Kind of.
Okay. So you should be able to recollect the strategies and the basic approaches, the techniques to improve your skills for different modules. Right.
Okay.
Apart from that, let me recap the basic information about each of the modules once again right now. December. So let's get started with the recap of basic information about speaking. So what about speaking information? What have you remembered so far? Muskan, can you please recollect? Can you please tell me what you can recollect about speaking module? And then I'll start revising the information and also strategies.
Okay, sir. So speaking model contains of three parts.
Sorry, consists of three parts.
Uh, First part consists of just like introduction or basic questions.
Sorry, general topic question. Okay,
Yes.
nice.
So under part two, there will be given a cue card.
Hmm.
Based upon that, they'll ask us to speak about it
Hmm.
for 2 minutes,
Yes, yes.
and under
Along with, along with
along with
1 minute.
preparation time.
Yes, 1 minute preparation time. Right.
Uh,
As you speak, as you answer the questions of the cue card, you should be able to use wide variety of sentence structures, and there
yes,
must be at least 15 to 20 sentence by the end of the second minute, right?
yes. Related to
So,
that cue card, under
hmm,
section 3, they will be asking few more questions. Straight
correct, correct.
answer.
Huh. So for part one, you can present straight answers with 3 to 4 sentences. But for part three, longer replies are expected, right?
Yes, sir.
So along with proper reasoning, correct,
Examples.
correct, correct. Yeah, you can present straight answer and support your answer with proper reasoning,
That's
factual
okay.
information, or example. And this is the assessment criteria. And you should always remember this particular thing to score 6.5,
Okay,
right,
sir.
buddy?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Yes. So whatever you speak must be grammatically correct,
Yes, sir.
right? It may be simple sentence or a complex compound or lengthy, very lengthy sentence. As you speak, try to nullify the fillers as much as you can, because the fillers can make your response ununderstandable or unclear to the examiner. As you speak, you should be able to uphold the intonation, inflections, right? Generally, we call them lows and highs as we speak. That can bring originality to your response. Okay.
Okay, sir.
So all these three, all these four assessment criteria equally contribute to your score. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Yeah. So you can check the same snap which has been shared on the WhatsApp group. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Right. Now let's know the basic strategies. Basic strategy. So you can check this for 1 minute. I have just shared in the group. Before we start this question on the snap, please look through the information, right, given on the snap for 1 minute.
Yes, sir.
Right. So I'll read the description, and then you should be able to read the related reason, beginning with because. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Yes. The approach. I'm going to read the approach for you know each of the parts given. Right.
Okay,
Yeah.
sir.
I read the approach first. Student must make sure that he or she knows what he or she has to do in the speaking test and what he or she is being assessed on.
Because
Read the
even
reason. Hmm.
because even good candidates can lose marks because they are not prepared for the requirements of the different parts of the test.
So there might be some people who might be PhD graduate in English who haven't given this IELTS or TOEFL, the sort of standardized test ever before. They may feel themselves they are, experts in English, but if they don't know the structure, clear structure of IELTS and assessment criteria, what they are going to be assessed on, and we can't expect a better score even for them. Even they are experts, if they don't know the structure of IELTS, even they don't know if they don't know the things they are going to be assessed on, you can't expect better scores for them. They are most likely to get very lesser scores. Okay,
Okay,
so
sir.
students must get used to this structure, get used to this sort of questions, and students should always remember the assessment criteria based on which your response are going to be gauged. Okay,
Okay, okay, sir.
next part one. You should use this part to develop your confidence and fluency.
Because the questions are about you and should be straightforward to answer.
Yes, yes. They are general topic questions, right? You should be able to
Yes.
answer with 3 to 4 sentences. Okay.
Okay.
Somehow part one can help you to get used to that ambience and you can present your basic fluency, right?
Yes, sir.
So even examiner will always be so cooperative, making you to feel comfortable. Okay. No need to
Okay.
worry about it. So obviously when you enter the hall, the first 10 minutes you feel nervous, you feel new, you feel low in confidence and all. So there won't be difficult questions at all in the first part. They're absolutely straightforward questions on general topic. Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
A student should give full answers, but don't talk for too long.
Because fuller answers are expected in part 3.
Part three is the one whose questions must be answered with 6 to 7 sentences, at least 6 to 7 sentences with clear
Yes, sir.
explanation, right? And all. So here it has been given not to memorize, but I always recommend to memorize the responses. No problem. Even why I always emphasize to memorize? Do I mean that you're gonna get the same questions and you can reproduce the answers what you memorized? Do I mean as such?
No.
No, you're not going to get the same questions at all to present the same answers what you memorized. But you can speak similar sentences. You will get
Yes.
used to that
Same
sort of complex
vocabulary.
sentence structure. Ah, you will understand what in what way you can typically answer questions, IELTS speaking questions. You need to know, right, how high level response can be presented. What a high level band and response would be like. So check yourselves, in the particular scale of 1 to 9, where your response stands at. So when it
Yes.
is possible, if you know what a band and response would be like. So to get used to such sort of complex responses, high level responses, and get used to understand the ways to answer a wide variety of questions of these items, I always indicate you to memorize different responses. I even shared the related band and responses, in the form of PDFs and all, right? Just
Yes.
memorize and allocate um, time to work on speaking strategy. Speak, record, listen, improve. Speak, record, listen, improve. Right? Memorizing the responses, speak, record, listen, improve. These two things definitely make you to get up to 8 out of 9 in your speaking level. Okay,
Okay, sir.
so you should always maintain intonation. It's not at all well. Even you get the same question what you memorize, you may not be able to present the same answer, but you know how to answer.
Yes.
You know what kind of sentence structures you can use for raise the question raised by the examiner, right? So to
Yes.
know all the necessaries, about IELTS, you must memorize the sophisticated responses and also follow the speaking strategy: speak, record, listen, improve. Speak, record, listen, improve. Okay,
Okay.
yeah. Part two. You should use the preparation time wisely,
Because useful notes will help you speak for longer.
right? So when it comes to part two, the cue card part, you will have a 1 minute preparation time during which you can have some scratch work or some notes based on which you should be able to elaborately answer all the questions of the cue card, right? By the end of the second minute. So speaking continuously for 2 minutes without interruption requires sufficient practice. Um, so I always recommend to allocate some time daily basis for speaking strategy, which can cater all the necessaries to be perfect in all aspects of IELTS speaking. Okay,
Okay, sir.
right. You should refer to task card as you talk.
Because the points on the task card are designed to help you structure your talk.
Okay. In fact, during your part two, as you speak, you can look back to your scratch work as many times as you want, as frequently as you want, and but make sure you should not stuck in the middle as you speak. You should
Okay.
not, fumble as you speak. You should not fumble at all as you speak. Okay.
Okay,
You
sir.
should not hesitate. You should not be hesitant as you speak during your cue card. But you can look back to your response. You can look back to your scratch work or useful notes as many times as you want. So on the piece of paper or on the booklet, within the booklet, there will be question right under it. Generally, you can have your scratch work. So you
Hmm.
can look back to your scratch work, right? Or you can look back to the set of questions as frequently as you want as you speak. Okay.
Okay. Okay, sir.
If you have your own scratch work, you know, coming up with 3 to 4 keywords for each of the questions of the cue card, definitely it ensures better organization of your talk, right? If you come up with 3 to 4 keywords, at least 3 to 4 keywords for each of the questions, definitely you speak based on such keywords. You won't leave any question unanswered, and your response is going to be well organized, right?
Okay, sir.
You should be aware of how long 2 minutes is.
Okay, sir.
Read the reason. And read the reason. You should be aware of how long 2 minutes is. Can't you see the screen?
Because you need to produce a rounded talk that is long enough, but not too long.
Right. As I emphasize, these days examiners are so particular that uh, student is being made to speak exactly 2 minutes, right? So even you stop at 1 minute 40 seconds or 30 seconds, they may verbally indicate to continue for another 30 seconds answering the questions. Okay, they may do impressions if they don't want, you know, your response, such verbal indication should not be recorded in that particular. Okay, there will be a recorder, voice recorder, right?
Okay.
For marking purposes. If they don't want their verbal indications not to get recorded in the voice recorder, they may do impressions. Generally, they may indicate you verbally. If you stop, uh, you know, at 1 minute 30 seconds or 1 minute 40 seconds also. Okay,
Okay.
next. Part three. You should make sure you know what the discussion topic is.
Because your answers need to be relevant to the topic.
Huh. Your responses must always be relevant, related to the question. You should rephrase the question in your mind so that you know what the examiner expects.
Because the questions aim to get you to talk about things using a range of language functions.
As I told you, wide variety of responses, conditional comparison, set of contrasting ideas, idiomatic expression is the part of your talk, right?
Mm.
So when as a trainer, as a examiner, when can I understand student have understood exact meaning of the question? If the student is able to rephrase the question in his own language, in his own words, then we can confirm that student has understood clear meaning of the question,
Oh,
right? You should be able to uh, represent the question in your own words. You should be able to rephrase the question in your own words in your mind. Okay, so that you won't use the same vocabulary from the question as you answer to the question, right?
okay.
Right. So you should support and extend your answers in case of part three question.
Because you must show that you can discuss it part 3 topics fully.
Right. So all parts, the basic strategies. Hmm. You should listen carefully to each question the examiner asks and think about the tenses, think about the tenses and vocabulary that you should use in your answer.
Because you will get better marks if your answer is grammatically correct and shows a range of vocabulary.
Hmm. I have always been emphasizing that you should be able to use wide variety of, not only wide variety of vocabulary, but also wide variety of sentence structures. If
Okay.
you are, of course, some students may not be able to present advanced vocabulary. That lack can be compensated by using complex sentence structures, lengthy sentence structures. So if you use complex sentence structure, you know, that quality of using complex sentence structure can contribute to your vocabulary score. Okay?
Oh,
Yeah. So you should have some views on typical part one and part three topics.
because you cannot discuss topics if you do not have any views. This is especially important for part 3.
If you want to refer wide variety of responses and the ways to answer wide variety of questions, you feel stuck in the real examination. So your practice should be accordingly, should be in this direction, right? So as we are Indian students, so we should be able to memorize the responses because, for example, if you are reading through any newspaper which is in our mother tongue, of course you can remember the content. If
Yes.
anybody asks you to present what you read, it's so easy for us to present. But if it is an English paper, if you read through it, if anybody asks you to present the same what you read, it is really difficult for us.
Yes.
You may remember the overall content in brief, but you may not be able to present it accurately. So why
Yes.
it happens? Because that's not your mother tongue. You can't remember our mother tongue content. You can't remember the content which is in our mother tongue as much as you know you actually effectively remember the content that is in mother tongue, right? But you can't remember the content which is in English as much as you can remember the content given in our mother tongue. Correct?
Yes.
Yeah. So it is necessary. This necessitates to memorize the content, whatever you see, whatever the new kind of sentence structure you come across, whatever the vocabulary you come across, memorize, there itself. Note down in a separate book. Try to write example sentences as many as you can related to different contexts.
Okay.
Obviously, you can't remember the English content as much as you remember a Telugu content as it is your mother tongue. Correct?
Yes, sir.
These things necessitate the memorization in case of important English stuff you come across. Right? Like you should ask the examiner to repeat a question if you don't understand it.
Because this is much better than talking about something which is irrelevant to the topic.
So if you couldn't understand, you may ask the examiner to repeat. If you couldn't understand the question clearly, you may ask to rephrase. But whenever you are asking, rephrasing, or meaning of a word, which is actually part of the question, you are voluntarily agreeing you are not good at vocabulary. So, but it is not as disadvantageous as you present an irrelevant response.
Oh,
Okay, when you present irrelevant response, it can reduce your score drastically.
okay.
Okay, somehow better to ask its meaning or ask to rephrase the question. Okay, if you don't understand the question, or you may ask to repeat the question once again for me. Clear?
Okay, sir.
Right. You should try to develop your answers using linkers and structural markers.
Because you'll get better marks for fluency if you can sequence ideas rather than repeating them or hesitating over them.
Right. You should be able to use more number of linkers, conjunctions. Somehow all are useful to join the ideas, link the ideas. Finally, speak clearly. Articulation, pronunciation must be clear. Speak clearly and use the stress and intonation. Intonation means lows and highs as you speak to help you get your points across. Get your points across means whatever you speak must be understandable, clearly understandable to other person. Okay,
Oh,
who you are speaking to.
because this will help improve your marks for pronunciation. Even good speakers can lose marks if they speak much too quickly.
They may be proficient in English. If they speak testily, definitely they are gonna get reduced score. Okay,
Okay.
so this is all about speaking. Okay, so what do you have to do from your side? You have to memorize the responses. You have to follow the speaking strategy, speak, record, listen, improve, and you have to give as many mock speakings as you can until you give your examination. Okay, the three things
Okay,
you
sir.
should always try follow, get better score in speaking. Clear?
Yes, sir.
What are the three things what I have just emphasized to master IELTS speaking?
Speak, record, listen, improve.
Okay, method, speaking technique must be followed. Second one, memorize the sophisticated responses.
Yes, sir.
Third one, try to give as many mock speaking as you can. Right?
Yes, sir.
So you have to memorize, speak, record, listen, improve, give mock speaking
Hmm.
as many as possible. Okay?
Okay, sir.
Uh, these three things can definitely improve your speaking skills substantially. The next one, reading. Right, approach. So how about reading buddy? What's the structure of your reading? The reading module.
Sorry, sir.
How about the structure of IELTS reading module? What do you remember about reading module?
Reading module consists of 5 paragraphs, sir,
Hey, three passages,
and two passages.
three
Yes,
long passages, three sections. Each section consists of one passage, right?
yes, sir.
Have not you given mock test on IELTSonlinetest.com or not?
Yes, sir. Only one, sir.
Yeah, your end of the course, you haven't given uh, mock test on IELTSonlinetest.com. So please remember, buddy, not only the passages from IELTSonlinetest.com, but also from official material. In the official guide, you can see 8 test papers, IELTS test papers. Each test paper definitely contain reading module, right?
Yes, sir.
Each test paper definitely contain three passages. So try to allocate time for completing the passage from official guide along with practicing on IELTSonlinetest.com. Okay.
Okay, sir.
However, I will be always available for your clarifications. Here,
Okay, okay, sir.
there will be three passages. The time given to finish three passages is what's the time given?
1 hour, sir.
1 hour. 1 hour. Is it really 20 minutes for each of the passages that you should be able to finish?
No.
You think? No. The overall times is 60 minutes. The timer starts to 60 minutes. It might be it a paper-based test or computer-based test,
Yes.
right? So the order of the modules on any paper-based test is writing, listening, reading. Speaking is going to be on the other day.
Yes,
When
sir.
it comes to computer-based test, it's
Listen.
conventional order, listening, reading, writing, right? LRW, the conventional order. Speaking is
Yes.
going to be on the same day on a different section or on a different day.
Okay.
So first passage relatively easy. The third passage is the hardest. Correct?
Difficult.
Hardest. So each passage, first passage is followed by 13 questions, second passage also 13, but the third passage followed by 14 questions. 40 questions all up. Out of 40, you should be able to score at least 23 to 25 to get 6.
Okay.
26 is the 6.5 marks, right?
Okay.
For academic students. Yeah. Now please check this particular snap on which you can find basic strategies. This snap has also been shared on the WhatsApp.
Yes, sir.
Please look through this for 1 minute. right?
Yes, sir.
So IELTS reading is all about detecting the paraphrases from passage to question, right? Uh, Sometimes a single idea going to be paraphrased to create a question as part of following questioning, right? Sometimes set of ideas, no more than 3 to 4 ideas, or simply 2 to 4 ideas may be paraphrased into single statement that can be seen in the question. We should be able to detect such paraphrases. Sometimes a big paragraph may be paraphrased into brief sentence to create a question that can be seen in the following question. That may be different question, matching, summary completion, true false not given, any kind of question. Basically, test your paraphrasing skill. Okay, detecting the paraphrase. It requires, understanding ability to be able to improve your understanding by giving as many mock. Before you move on to a next mock test, you have to make sure you understand exact meaning of the previous passages of the passages of previous text. You are moving on to next test. You have to check yourself whether you have understood exact meaning of the three passages of the previous text. As long as you didn't understand exact meaning of all the three passages of the previous text, you should not move on to next step. It may take time, but it makes it to become better in understanding ability and reading skill. Okay.
Okay.
I'll read the approach. You have to read the reason. So
Okay.
you should spend 20 minutes on each passage and its question. This should include the time you need to write the answers on the answer sheet. It is basically related to paper-based exam. These basic strategies are related to paper-based.
Okay. Treat each passage as a separate.
Whatever you do on paper generally be done on screen if you go with computer-based exam. Right?
Okay. Okay, sir.
Right. Go on. Reading reason.
Treat each passage as a separate test. In 20 minutes, you should be able to cover all the questions that you find straightforward.
Okay, it is not at all fair to expect the students to allocate exactly 20 minutes or same time for each of the passages. So all the three passages are of different difficulty level. So how can we expect students to allocate same time for each passage, right? So that depends on the student, his practice level, the ability to the
Understood.
student, ability to understand the content of the passage and all, right? So generally, if you have sufficient practice, you are going to allocate 15 minutes for the first passage, 20 minutes for the second passage, and 25 minutes for the third passage. Because the difficulty level goes on increasing as you move from first passage to third passage. Correct?
Yes, sir.
Let's start with the first passage.
The first passage may not be the easiest for you, but you need to do them all. So get going.
However, some students may think to start last passage, which is relatively difficult. But attempting the third passage is not at all a good idea. So you need some time to get used to the transition from listening to reading, reading to writing. If it is paper-based test, uh, after listening, you will be asked to attempt reading. So if you immediately move on to the last passage, the difficult one, you won't get better score at all because most of the time you are going to allocate for the third passage and some of the vocabulary may definitely make you to feel exhausted. You will not be able to estimate its meaning. Somehow better to attempt the easy passage, which is the first passage, to build the confidence. Okay, think yourself that you can do it and go on. So better to start first passage.
Yes,
Okay, if you are unable to practice, well, even first passage can definitely make you to feel difficult. Correct?
yes, sir.
Right. You should read the title and subheading and consider what you expect the passage to be about.
You need to get into each passage. So predicting the text type, content and structure will help you do this. If there is no
Right.
title or subheading, use the opening paragraph to find the topic.
Okay. As I have emphasized,
Yes, sir.
to handle main idea question, what are the things you must go through? Do we have to go through the whole passage to
No,
answer
no.
any main idea question?
Heading, subheading, and first paragraph.
Sometimes, if it is necessary, the last paragraph.
Yes,
Right?
sir.
That's it. So, main idea of the whole passage can be estimated by simply checking heading, subheading, and opening paragraph. Okay.
Yes, sir.
And uh, if you are really familiar with the topic, that definitely makes you to understand the content so easily. You can complete reading the passage in lesser time. Okay, definitely. Most likely, you are most likely to get more number of questions correct if you are really familiar with the topic of the passage. So the examiner clearly indicated that where he is going to extract the IELTS passages from, right? So international journals, okay, editorial section, health
Math.
section, education section, right, and science section. Such sections of international journals definitely contain the same level of IELTS passages. So go through them. If you are really familiar with the topic on which IELTS passage is given, you are most likely to get more number of questions correct. However, you are going to check the answers whether they are absolutely from the passage or not. So your knowledge should not answer the question at all, right? Whatever the answer you come up with must be supported by the information given in the passage, not by your knowledge. Okay.
Okay.
Next, read the next. Think about what you know on the topic.
Your own knowledge of the topic will help you follow the passage and understand the question better. However, always check carefully that your answers to the question come from the passage and not your own ideas.
Huh. Of course, for example, if you know great information and great deal of information about dolphins, if the passage is about dolphins, so that means you can read the passage so quickly, you can understand the related terminology or jargon so easily, and more number of questions going to be correct. Okay, but
Mm.
your answer should not come from your own knowledge. You have to
Yes.
check. Okay, there is another problem as well. Your knowledge sometimes make you to pick the wrong answer that is practically true, or that is true based on your knowledge. That particular information might not given in the passage,
Mm.
right? So there is another disadvantage if you know much more about the topic. Okay, so you should always make sure your answer is actually from the passage, not as per your knowledge. Your answer is actually a kind of paraphrased version of the information given in the passage. Your answer must be supported by the information given in the passage, not from your knowledge or not by the practical information you know priorly. Okay,
Okay.
right. Next. Read the passage quickly before you start the question.
As you do this, you can underline the key ideas in each paragraph. This will help you an overview of the content.
Right. So, but our method is to check the questions first, underline the keywords from the question, right?
Yes.
And then back to the passage. So as you read through the passage, if you feel something, a kind of information is answering a question that you have already read, please answer it there itself.
Okay.
Okay, so it's may not possible to answer all the questions in that way, but of course, as you read through the passage, you may answer some of the questions, right? And once you read through the passage completely, yes, you may have to get back to the questions, all the questions following the passage, right?
Okay, sir.
You know, you can't expect all the questions should be answered as you read through the passage. Some of the questions, somehow, some questions maybe can be answered as you read through the passage. Once you look through the passage completely, you have to start attacking all the questions. Of course, some of the questions might already been answered, uh, but the rest of the question must be answered all at once. So again, as you start working on the questions after reading through the passage, right? So for some of the question, you may again get back to the passage information to review or reassure about your answer. Correct?
Yes,
Right. So it's always based on your practice, always how extent you are able to improve your understanding ability during your practice. Okay? Yeah. Start with the first set of questions.
the questions have been arranged in a logical order. That is, the first set of questions usually focus on the first part of the passage or on the main ideas in the passage.
Right. So most of the question types follow the passage order.
Yes,
For example, matching the incomplete sentence to correct endings follow the passage order. If first four questions are matching the incomplete sentences to correct endings, maybe from first four paragraphs. So you may not see another question type on the same paragraphs, on the same firstly given four paragraphs, because firstly given four paragraphs have already been covered by the question type matching the incomplete sentences to correct endings. Correct? So
yes,
rest of the paragraphs are necessary to handle the rest of the question. So most of the question types follow the passage order. You can make use of this information as an advantage as you handle the questions. So somehow true false not given questions, matching the headings to right paragraphs may not follow the passage order. Correct?
yes.
Yeah. Read the instructions very carefully.
It is silly to lose marks because you didn't check the instructions. For example, gap fill questions can have a limit of 1, 2, or 3 words.
Yes. So it is basic responsibility, minimum responsibility of the student to read through the instructions carefully and answer the questions accordingly. So understanding ability is one thing, and uh, following the instructions for each of the question type is another major thing. Correct? Even you understand exact meaning of the whole passage, if you don't follow the instructions given, that's of no use again. Right?
Yes.
Right. Next, you should use the strategies that you have learned to help you do each set of the questions.
Some IELTS questions are very different from others. You can work faster if you know and understand these differences. For example, which question follow the order of information in the passage and which don't.
Ah, right. So there are some questions that, for example, summary completion, maybe based on first four paragraphs, maybe based on first three paragraphs. Definitely, remaining paragraphs may be covered by other question types. You cannot expect another set of question on the same paragraph, which have been covered by one question type, right? Correct, buddy.
Yes, sir.
You can't expect more than one question type based on a set of specific paragraphs in the passage, right? So ultimately, the following 13 or 14 questions are going to cover the whole passage, correct?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So try to check all your answers.
You may have you may not have time to check all the answers, but in written answers, make sure that you have spelled words correctly, especially those that you can copy from the passage. You will lose marks for misspelling.
Uh, so, for example, if you are on yes, no, not given, or true, false, not given questions on a computer-based test. So, beside each of the statements, there will be drop downs. But on the paper-based test, you have to write down
Mm.
as per the indications. If the yes, no, not given questions, you can't write true, false, not given as option,
Yes,
right? So, you should be careful about the instructions when you give paper-based test. Okay,
yes,
so even on computer-based test, you can highlight the keywords from the passage with the different colors in your real examination or even during your practice on IELTS online test.com. Correct? You can highlight the sentences. You can highlight. different vocabulary with the different colors, right? You can highlight the keywords from each of the paragraphs, right, buddy?
Yes,
So
sir.
somehow highlighting the keywords can reduce the time you question, work on the questions, right?
Yes.
So there should not be misspelling when it is necessary to type down in the blank as per the instructions of the particular. Okay.
Okay, sir.
So and then apart from the strategies, so these things must also be remembered, right? Please start reading this one, buddy. However, I have shared this one. You have to look through yourselves, but let me make you to read this out. Go on.
Okay,
These
sir.
are the strategies.
To improve to improve your reading section score in the IELTS, it's crucial to focus on boosting your ability to understand IELTS kind of passages. Comprehension skills. Prac-
Boosting your comprehension skills, understanding ability. Comprehension skills means skill of
un-
understanding IELTS level passages,
oh,
right? Yeah.
Practice with IELTS reading mock tests regularly, ensuring you grasp the full meaning of each passage before proceeding to the next test.
Right. This is what the crucial part, key part, for most of the students won't follow and end up getting, a lesser score than they deserve. Okay. So you must make sure that you understand exact meaning of the whole passage before you move on to next steps. Okay. Next. Go on. Next one.
Many answers in the IELTS reading test are paraphrased versions of the text in the passages. Practice identifying and understanding paraphrased information.
Information. You should always remember this thing. IELTS reading is all about detecting paraphrases. Correct?
Paraphrase. Additional strategies. If you see unfamiliar words during practice, look them up and add them to your vocabulary list.
You have to note down the vocabulary practice. Next.
Allocate your reading time wisely across different passages, ensuring you have enough time to answer all questions.
During any mock test or during your real IELTS examination. Okay.
Okay.
Hmm.
Regularly read a variety of international journals to get used to different writing styles and topics.
What kind of international journals? So in international journals, you have to read through the science section, education section, right?
Yes, sir.
Or editorial columns or something of that sort. Clear?
Yes, sir. The Australian and New Zealand
Um,
international.
Wall Street Journal, the American, the Australian, there might be
Time.
Time Magazine, something like that. They are international journals, New York Times and all. So he clearly suggested you can see IELTS passages in sciences section, education section, or business section, something of that sort.
Health.
Okay, not the major news generally you see in at the front pages, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Next, are there anything to discuss? Are there anything to discuss with regard to reading? You know this, right? This
Yes,
is the
sir.
strategy. Yeah. Now move on to the other one, writing. So what do you have to do in case of reading to
Right.
master reading? Let me for reading, detecting paraphrases, working on the paraphrases, learning vocabulary. Yeah, so you have to detect how the examiner paraphrase the information from the passage to the question to create a question. So single idea to single idea paraphrasing, three to
Hmm.
four ideas to single idea paraphrasing in the question. A big paragraph is going to be briefed or paraphrased into a single idea question. Question will always be brief, right?
Yes.
Okay, you should be able to remember these things all the time. Now back to right. So I have shared these two. Please read through, look through these two snaps I have shared in the group for 1 minute.
Yes, I finished.
So this is for writing task one, right? Writing task one, what are the possible question types?
Diagram
Hmm.
question, pie chart,
Bar graph, yes.
bar graph,
Line graph,
or any. Uh,
maps,
yes, sir.
mixed graphs, and all, right? So you should always follow a structure, introduction, overview, body paragraph one, body paragraph two, body paragraph three, and concluding
Yes,
paragraph. The last two paragraphs are optional.
yes,
Concluding paragraph and body paragraph three are optional, but you should always write uh, the introduction, overview, body paragraph, and body paragraph. For sure, these four must be there in your response. Correct?
yes, sir.
Right.
And word count is 150
At least 150 for writing task it is at least 250.
to
Okay. I'll read the approach. You have to read the related reason. Okay. Yeah. So you should also know how the writing score is given, measured or measured, right? What's the basic expression or equation they follow? So sorry, 2/3 of writing task two question, sorry, writing task two score, right? 1/3 of writing task one score that gives you overall writing score that is going to be shown on your scorecard. Correct?
yes,
It's not at all like common average. Okay. Writing task one score plus writing task two score by two is not the one the examiner follows. 2/3 of writing task two score plus 1 by third of writing task 1 score is equals to overall writing score, writing module, writing score, it is shown on scorecard. Correct? It's not at all, equal to common average writing task one plus writing task, writing task two plus writing task one. Okay. Huh. Even you get the values fractional that is going to be rounded to nearest point by multiple. Correct?
Yes.
I'll read the proof. Spend 20 minutes on writing task one, at least with 150 words, and 40 minutes on writing task two with at least 250 words.
Task 2 is longer than task 1 and is worth twice as many marks.
Before you write, read the task and make mental summary of the key points and overall trends or stages.
If you misinterpret the data or diagram, you will lose a lot of marks for content.
Uh, what's the assessment criteria? Content, vocabulary, grammatical accuracy, and organization. These four are our assessment criteria for writing section, right?
Yes.
So if you couldn't understand clear meaning and couldn't understand the figures, couldn't understand the change of figures, nature of the change of figures accurately, you may not be able to present the data accurately, and you will definitely lose marks in the subsection content, in the assessment criteria content. Okay.
Oh.
So as you write, introduce the information in a sentence or two sentences using your own words.
If you copy the question, the examiner will not count these words.
Yes. So you should come up with your own words. You should come up with the synonyms to the keywords of the question. You should not repeat the same words given in the question. When you write specifically the introductions.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So don't use too many synonyms. Try to come up with 2 to 3 synonyms. You can use them alternatively for your response. Next. You should summarize the key points and use data to illustrate these.
You will lose marks if you miss key points or fail to illustrate them.
Summary. Summary is nothing else overview which follows the introductory paragraph. The overview is nothing else the condensed version of body paragraphs. The body paragraphs are nothing else elaborated versions of the summary. Summary must be a kind of short version of the body paragraph that you are gonna write.
Yes.
And body paragraphs are like elaborated explanation for the ideas that you have written in the summary or overview paragraph. The overview should always follow the introductory paragraph. Okay.
Okay.
Next, include an overview of the information either in your introduction or conclusion.
You will lose marks if your answer does not contain an overview.
There is a clear instruction in the any writing task one followed by standard instruction, right? Summarize the information given in the question, um, compare and report by reporting the key information, and compare the things wherever relevant. So there is a summarize. The question, and actually the specific task instruction starts with the verb summarize. So there must be summary in your response, right?
Yes, sir.
Next. So you can write overview. You can also write concluding paragraph in the end. It is not at all mandatory to write the both, but one of the paragraphs like overview or conclusion must be part of your response. Correct?
Yes, sir.
Next. You should try to show that you can use your own words, whatever possible, and range of grammatical structure.
You will get more marks for vocabulary and grammar if you can do this.
As I have always emphasized, you should be able to use wide variety of sentence structures. Of course, writing task one is not the venue to present all of your language skills, but make sure that you use different sort of sentence structure instead of using, advanced, deliberate vocabulary which may not be suitable to the context of the question, the model of the question. So in writing task one, you don't have much scope to include advanced vocabulary. So frankly speaking, writing task one, you will get a leeway to present all of your language skills in writing task two,
Hmm.
right? In writing task one, you can showcase your language skill by presenting wide variety of sentence structures.
Okay.
Is it clear? Right.
Yes.
So try to show you can use your own words wherever possible and range of grammatical structures. You will get more marks for vocabulary and grammar if you can do this. If the ideas are really whatever the idea you write are definitely whatever the ideas you write are actually from the diagram, right, buddy? So the
Yes, sir.
presentation must be in grammatically correct and complex sentences. The vocabulary that you can use are somehow related to the topic, related to the diagram given. So you need not to unnecessarily include advanced vocabulary, somehow make your response awkward. Okay,
Okay, sir.
right? So writing task two is something you can showcase all of your language skill as much as you can. But writing task one is to show your language skill by presenting the information in wide variety of sentence structures. Okay?
Okay, sir.
Yeah. You should divide your answer into paragraphs and use linkers to connect your ideas.
You will get more marks if you can organize your answer well and use a range of linking and reference words.
Yes. So you will get more marks if you can organize your answer. Introduction, overview, body paragraph one, body paragraph two, and concluding paragraph. So well organized. You should not repeat the information again and again. Okay. Students always repeat the information whatever they have written. Information means information can be written. Body paragraph for writing concise, the information given in brief as a part of overview,
Mm.
right? Sometimes students write a particular idea in the overview. The same idea is going to be rewritten in the paragraph. That definitely reduces your score. You're literally repeating the idea. You're literally using almost same vocabulary, right? That won't be considered your word count. That idea is going to be sacked out of your response, thereby reducing overall word count. Okay.
Okay, sir.
So you should always remember overview is actually brief version of body paragraph that you are going to write.
Oh,
Okay, right. The concluding paragraph or the overview paragraph must be brief version of your body paragraphs, condensed version, and body paragraphs are elaborated versions of
summary.
your overview. Hmm. Next, when you have finished, you can count your words to make sure you have written enough.
Short answers lose marks. There are no extra marks for long answers.
When you give your IELTS test on computer, you go with computer-based test. You can clearly during your writing module, you can clearly see the word count right under the space provided to type the response. You can clearly see the word count. Okay,
Okay, sir.
while you are typing down the response. So this is you can have a rough word count if you go with paper-based test.
Okay.
Okay, next. Check your grammar, spelling, and punctuation.
Mistakes in these areas can reduce your marks.
We have actually discussed all possible, potential model writing task one models in the classroom, right?
Yes, sir.
Now writing task two. So these two are absolutely same. We have already gone through. So we must read these two only. Please check this information also again for 1 minute before we start this section on this information.
Okay, sir. Yes, sir.
Right. Okay. You know this information, no? 150, at least 150 words per person. Okay. There might be students allocating only, 15 minutes for writing task one, 45 minutes for writing task two. That is absolutely student's choice, right? Because the overall timer starts from 60 minutes. That's absolutely your choice to allocate sufficient time for each of the writing tasks. Correct?
Yes, sir.
But the suggestion is 20 minutes for writing task one, 40 minutes for writing task two. Okay.
Okay.
Before you write, read the task carefully to decide how many parts it has and what your position
The examiner will not count copied material as part of your total word count.
is. So, as I told you in introduction, you should not use the same vocabulary from the question. You should be able to use synonyms to the keywords of the question when you write introduction specifically, particularly. For any writing task two, what are the possible models, buddy, in writing task two?
Uh, Agree, disagree, sir.
Hmm.
Opinion.
What's that? Agree, disagree, and
Your opinion.
opinion. Okay, opinion can be included for any sort of question. Agree or disagree, give your opinion. What extent you agree or disagree, give your opinion.
Hmm.
Discuss both sides, give your opinion. Okay,
Uh,
advantages, disadvantages, and include a question, give your opinion.
yes, sir.
Giving your opinion, that sort of question may be included to any kind of question. So
First,
majorly we have uh, questions like agree, disagree, what extent do you agree, disagree, discuss both sides. So these three comes under argument kind of questions, argumentative, writing task questions.
yes.
So another one is cause effect solution. Even such sort of questions, there might be inclusive of opinion question.
Hmm.
Okay. The top, you may be given with a situation followed by cause and effect. Effect solution.
At a
Cause and
problem.
solution. Effects means, problem, the problem's cause,
Hmm.
consequences. Right? Okay. So first, before you write, read the task carefully to decide how many parts it has and what your position is.
The
Read it
examiner.
again. I read the first one only.
Yes, sir.
You will lose marks if you don't address all parts of the question relevantly. Okay, you should be able to discuss the question from all possible angles. Okay, and you should always follow the standard structure: introduction, body paragraph one, body paragraph two, body paragraph three is going to be optional, and conclusion should be written somehow, condensed version of body paragraph. Okay,
Okay.
you should make a quick plan. The second one. You should make a quick plan either mentally or on rough paper. Decide on your main ideas.
Okay.
Read the reason.
You will, your examiner will expect to find a logical conclusion or a consistent position.
Where are you? This one. I read, make a quick plan either mentally or on rough paper. Decide on your main ideas. Okay, you have 40 minutes, right? First 2 minutes must be allocated to have rough plan or scratch book based on elaborately type down the response for the given question, right? So the examiner will be looking for a number of clear main ideas as part of body paragraphs. Body paragraphs or developmental paragraphs are far more important than your introduction and conclusions. Okay.
Oh,
Introduce your answer in your okay as you write. Introduce your answer in your own words and make your position clear. You may state your position here as well. Okay, in the introductory paragraph, you may present your basic stand. Of course, your ultimate stand and clear stand can be given in the concluding paragraph, but somehow you can talk about your stand Okay, the basic stand, what you felt in your at your quick glance, towards the topic that can be explained in the introductory paragraph. Okay, yeah, read the reason.
The examiner will not count copied material as part of your total word count.
Because you know this, we have been emphasizing on this since the course began. Okay, you should present your main ideas clearly and use examples to support them.
You'll you'll get more marks if your ideas are clear and well supported.
You should write a conclusion and restate your position.
Your examiner will expect to find a logical conclusion and a consistent position.
Hmm. If you talk about fully agreeing stuff in both the body paragraphs, your conclusion should also be similar to the stand you expressed in the body paragraph. So agreeing, you have included agreeing, two different agreeing stuff, agreeing with the idea given in the question, and you don't have right to take an impartial stand in the concluding paragraph. When it is possible to present an impartial stand in the concluding paragraph? Only when you present agreeing and disagreeing information in body paragraphs. One paragraph allocated for agreeing stuff, supporting, another paragraph for disagreeing or opposing stuff. Then in the concluding paragraph, you have right to present an impartial or a neutral stand, sticking to a middle ground, striking a balance between agreeing and disagreeing. Okay, as part of concluding paragraph. Clear?
Yes.
So there must be a logical conclusion based on information you discussed in the body paragraphs. Okay, right. Try to show that you can use your own words whenever possible and range of grammatical structures.
You will get more marks for vocabulary and grammar if you can do this.
Okay, the rest of the information is absolutely same. Okay, what we have just discussed in case of writing faster. Okay, shall we move on to the last module?
Yes, sir. Yes,
When have we started the session? 3:30 or 3:20?
3:30, I guess, sir.
Okay. The last one, listening. What are the things you remember in case of listening module? Listening module is the last module we have closed our course with, right?
Yes, sir.
Please tell me, what do you remember?
It consists of three parts.
Three parts.
First part
Not
consists
three parts. There will be four sections.
four sections, sir,
Okay.
which is of 40 questions, sir.
Okay. And the whole 40 questions.
On the whole, 40 questions, sir. Part 1 consists of 10. Each part consists of 10 questions, sir.
Okay.
Part 1, it is basically a phone call between
Kind of
or
form filling.
form, yes, a form filling. And second can be any diagram like directions, sir. Second part, sir.
Second, directions, a map.
Yes, sir. And third can be communication between any two friends or
Two
students.
people. What kind of question generally you see in section 3 of listening module?
Choose the correct answer, sir.
Multiple choice
Yes, a multiple choice.
and matching the phrases, right?
Yes, yes, sir. And at last, one word in part 4, that would be one word answer, sir. Fill in the blank.
Huh. All the 10 questions must be attempted in a single go, correct?
Yes, sir. And there will be a time to look at the questions and to check the answers.
All the 10 questions, there will be 10 to 20 seconds to check all the 10 questions, and then you have to answer all the 10 questions in a single go as you listen to the track, correct?
Yes, sir. Only for part 4.
Right. So till part 3, you will have 22, 20, sorry, 10 to 20 seconds to check every
Yes.
5 to 6 questions, right? For every 5 to 6 questions you are going to handle, Okay, you will have 10 to 20 seconds to check the questions beforehand.
Mm-hmm.
Correct?
Yes, sir.
Now, these are the approach and also reasons. Please read through this for 1 minute and then we will have this.
Yes, sir.
Okay. There are four sections. I'm reading the approach. There are four sections, and you have time to read the questions thoroughly before you listen to each recording. Take the sections one at a time.
It is difficult to concentrate on making sense of what you hear if you are trying to read the questions and work out what is required at the same time.
Okay. Why it is giving a reason for why there will be, uh, you know, 10 to 20 seconds before you handle the questions as you listen to the track. There will be 10 to 20 seconds to look at the questions before you listen to the track nowadays.
Yes, sir.
Why that time is given? That's the reason. It is
Hmm.
difficult to concentrate at the track and also answering the questions at the same time, right?
Yes, sir.
So that's why there is a 10 to 20 seconds, okay, to check the questions beforehand. Before you hear the recording, read through the tasks for each section and make sure you know what sort of answer you have to write. Words, a letter, an option from a box, etc.
If you need to write something, you must spell the words accurately. Hear a word spelled out, so you need to know the sound of the letter of the alphabet in English. For multiple choice questions or the, when you have to choose options from a box, you only need to write the correct letters as your answer.
As you answer, yes. You have to read through the instructions carefully. You should follow such restrictions or instructions as you type down the answer, as you write down the answer. Correct? So there is a basic approach. Before you listen to the audio track, you should come up with your own guesses so that you are going to concentrate much on what to listen, what not to listen, what is the useful information as the track progresses, right? And there is a technique to improve listening skills, working on the transcript, giving the same test again and again, right? Listen to the track and looking at the transcript at the same time, and then giving the same test again. So until you feel confident about a particular test, you should not move on to next test. Correct?
Yes, sir.
Right. You should use this time to work out the topic. Before you listen, you will have 10 to 20 seconds now, during
Hmm.
which what you have to do. You have to use this time to work out the topic and decide what sort of information and answer you need to listen for.
This means you do not waste time doing this while the recording is playing.
Hmm. So you are going to be so clear what to listen, what you are exactly searching for, right? If
Yes.
you come up with your own guesses for all the questions. Yes. You should use pencil to underline keywords in the question. In your real examination, there will be a chance to highlight the keywords. Don't worry.
Okay. Keywords usually carry meaning and help you make sense of the question.
Keywords means which holds major meaning of the sentence in a sentence, right? During the recording, you should use the words on the question paper to guide you through the listening.
They
Because
they act as anchors throughout the recording and stop you from getting lost.
as you read through the question, during your 10 to 20 seconds, you have to underline the keyword, right? And then you have to come up with your own guesses based on the context. And you should be able to expect what kind of information, how the speaker is going to describe the topic, right? So as you underline the keywords, that definitely make you to concentrate on the recording and not to get deviated from the topic, right? As you underline, as you are so clear what to listen, you obviously concentrate on recording as it is being played, correct?
Yes, sir.
Next, you should remember the section one. Okay, we'll have an example in, okay, these days example is not being given directly. You will listen, you will start the recording with 10 to 20 seconds to check first 5%. Okay, 1, 2, 3, and divided into two parts. This allows you to keep up, to maintain, and gives you time to complete your answer. Keep up means maintain the same interest, maintain the same level. Okay, next one. You should write your answers on the question paper as you listen. Okay, so this is absolutely related to paper-based test.
Yes, sir.
In paper-based test, the listening lasts 30 minutes plus 10 minutes.
10 minutes.
Then 30 minutes is for listening audio
And
time,
10
and
minutes.
10 minutes to transfer your answers from question paper to answer sheet. So
Mm.
during the exam, as you listen to the audio, you have to write down the answers in the question paper, and then the invigilators or the administrators indicate you to transfer the answers from question paper to answer sheet after the audio is over. Okay, so for
Mm.
that you will be provided 10 minutes, right? But in
It is,
the computer-based test, there won't be such time at all. The listening lasts only 30 minutes. Please
yes,
remember, on computer-based test, listening module lasts only 30
30
minutes.
minutes.
Yes. If you cannot answer a question, move on to the next one.
Oh. You do not want to risk missing the answer to the next question too.
Uh, if you stuck at a particular question, what could be the answer? As the audio track is getting progress, you're going to lose the subsequent questions also.
Yes,
If you're
sir.
unable to write the answer, just move on. Try to listen to the right answer for the subsequent questions, not stopping at the particular question you couldn't answer. You know, you should not stop at that question at all.
Okay.
You should move on along with the audio track after the recording. So this is for paper-based test. You have to transfer your answers onto the answer sheet carefully. Make sure you put the right answers in the right place and check your spelling. Okay, checking, you know, giving correct spelling is always necessary skill either on paper-based test or computer-based test. So because you have 10 minutes to do this, but you need to get going means continue on this straight away. If you put your answers in the wrong place on the answer sheet, you will lose marks. So this is absolutely related to paper-based test. So
Okay.
there won't be such sort of transfer of answers from question paper to answer sheet with regard to uh, computer-based test. On computer-based test, there won't be such additional 10 minutes time. Correct?
Yes, sir.
You should go back to any question you could not answer and try to guess the answer from the context.
Okay.
That's the reason.
You should attempt all the questions as a blank space can only be marked wrong.
Uh, you should attempt all the questions as a blank space. You should attempt all the questions as a blank space can only be marked wrong. There won't be any negative marking. So you should not leave any question unanswered, but you should be able to come up with your own guess to, okay, type down or write down something related to the context, but you should not leave any question unanswered.
Okay.
Okay. You should make the most of the questions in section 1 and 2 as they are often easier than section 3 and section 4.
There is 1 mark for every question, making a total of 40 marks.
All the questions are equally important because each question carries 1 mark.
Yes.
All the questions carry equal
1 mark.
marks. So you should be able to garner as many questions correct as you can in the first two sections because they are relatively easy in comparison with part 3, section 3 and section 4 questions, right? Section
Yes.
3 contains multiple choice questions,
Yes.
three options for each question. Within 20 seconds, you should be able to understand all the options and questions, and as you listen to the audio, you should be able to recollect them to eliminate the wrong answers, right?
Yes.
So, section 1, section 2, test maker himself indicating you to garner, to elicit, to draw as many questions correct as you can in the first two sections. Okay? Because even section 1, section 2, although the questions in section 1, section 2 are easier, each of the questions carry 1 mark, just
Yes.
like each of the questions from section 3 and section 4. So, for section 1, section 2 are the easier, you should be able to get more number of questions correct from them. Okay?
Okay.
Right. So, this is all about listening, and this is your course. Okay? I don't know whether I have shared. One second. So, I have written what you have to do, that you should always remember as a preparation plan, and what you have to do from your side to master each of the modules as a WhatsApp message in the group. Are you able to listen to my voice clearly?
Yes, sir.
What students can do once the course is complete is going to be shared now again. So it's just a recap of what you have to do. Please check the message body. What students should do to master 4 sections of IELTS. This is, for speaking, you have to give as many speaking notes, as many as one can give, the student can give. This is the speaking technique: speak, record, listen, improve, memorize as many sophisticated responses as you can. For writing, what students should do: get your responses corrected, as many responses as you want. Uh, get them corrected. Okay. Memorize the sophisticated responses from the PDF I have shared. You can use top phrases if you feel yourself a beginner, and check the recent real questions from the examword.com. You know examword.com, right?
Yes, sir.
And for reading, work on the vocabulary and note down paraphrases as we practice. So recognize these things, no? Paraphrases. Single idea from text to paraphrased as a single idea in the question. Set of few ideas from the text to paraphrased as a single idea in the question. A paragraph going to be brief, then paraphrased as a single sentence as a part of question. So any question in reading, IELTS reading, boils down to any one of these three themes, these three types. That's it. Okay. So listening, give as many listening tests as you can, from more than, you should always concentrate on more than 1x speed. Work on the transcript every time you attempt any test, and give the same test again and again. Look at the transcript and listen to the audio track at the same time to improve your listening skill, and give the same test again and again. Okay. Make sure that you follow the basic approach and improving methods start in the classroom. Okay.
Mm.
So these things can definitely make you to get the better score and score improvement. And make sure you inform me before you book your slot, so that I can check your level and somehow I can confirm your readiness.
Okay, sir.
Okay, right. So this is your course study, right?
Okay,
So
sir.
you can come to institute anytime you want, for clarifications or for mock test or anything you wish. You can also schedule extra help sessions, but before you have to inform me 1 day before. Okay,
Okay, sir.
let's get attendance marked in the group. 16th, no, buddy?
Yes, sir. 16.
Okay, buddy. Mark your attendance.
Okay, sir.
So no need to be hesitant to call me anytime you want on WhatsApp.
Okay, sir.
Any clarifications or concern, you can contact me. Okay, Muskan?
Okay, sir. Thank you,
Yeah,
sir.
let's build the session, buddy.